Hey everybody, it's MrTyMed. I'm Tyler Medeiros, TyMed for short, and I'm a boy, so Mister. I'm going to be offering in this video my views on what's going on in the world from a 15-year-old's point of view. I live in Louisiana. I live about 45 minutes north of New Orleans, and I was deeply affected by the Hurricane Katrina in 2005. And I wanted to share my experience, not with Katrina, but with what I think is going on in the world right now. Yeah, I'll just tell you about Katrina. In 2005, my dad came home and he said that there was the storm coming and it was entering the Gulf of Mexico. Of course, I was in sixth grade back then. I'm 15 now. I was, what, 12 or 11 at the time. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what was going on in the world. So I was just like, oh, cool, hurricane, yeah, get out of school. So we went to go. My dad was like, my mom was completely, no, we're not leaving. We don't need to. It's not going to hit us. It's going to end up going east, just like Ivan did, which was the year before. Which, if anyone saw that, Ivan was supposed to hit New Orleans, but it took a last minute turn and it hit Florida, and Florida got hit really bad. So at the very last minute, on I believe the hurricane hit on Sunday night. Around Sunday in the day, my family packed up the car and we went to New Orleans. We took all of our belongings, and my dad works at this hotel, and we stayed at the hotel that he works at, and we stayed in a suite. It was kind of awkward because we had a honeymoon suite, and there was a bathtub in the middle of the room. But yeah, we got there. Everyone was acting fine. We ate dinner at the nice restaurant. It was like it was almost surreal. It was like the Titanic. We all sat around and pretended nothing was going to happen to us. That we were all just gonna like eat out at a restaurant every single night after the hurricane. So we went back to our room and we watched the Polar Express on TV, and we just watched all those free movies and movies that are still in theaters that you can watch in hotels. So the next morning I wake up and it's just rainy outside, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? So I go down and it's just windy, and I was just like, really, Category 4? Yeah, okay. So my mom's like, yeah, it's the hurricane's going on now, and I'm like, oh, cool. And then I just go back to bed. I couldn't see anything. So we find out from a radio, we are completely cut off from civilization. Cell phones don't work, nothing works. Some windows blew out. My dad and all of his workers at his hotel, they were running back and forth, and it was really hard on my father emotionally. For me and my siblings, we just kind of sat around and played with our cell phones. I didn't have cell phones. I was in sixth grade. I know today, now kids do, but I didn't get my phone until like the beginning of eighth grade. Um, we hung around New Orleans for till Wednesday. We were just so bored. We had no power. We had to fill up the bathtub in order to brush our teeth. Like, we had to use the water because you couldn't drink the water when it turned on. And like, to flush the toilet, we had to like take a bucket of water from the bathtub and we had to put it into the toilet. I mean, obviously my parents did that for me. I didn't. Oh, went to the bathroom with me, but I didn't really know what was going on. Finally, on Wednesday, we decided to flee. But we fled the city and we drove past the convention center. And as you can imagine, there were a million people out there, and it was really funny how we experienced Katrina. My dad drove with a knife next to him in the car in our little minivan. Um, Sorry, I'm sitting down, honey. And we had people chasing our car, and my little sister was 2, 3 tops, and I'm 6, and I'm just like completely, I have no idea what's going on in the world. And to see my father with a knife in his hand, like on the side of the car, like in case someone tries to like get into our car, it was really emotional because my mom has asthma, and him and a bunch of like the hotel staffers, they had to break into a Walgreens, which was already broken into. He wasn't looting it like everyone else. Well, technically was. He had to go in there and get asthma supply for my mom because she has asthma and she couldn't breathe. So we managed to charge a DVD player. We brought a DVD player. Like, we didn't open it until we were like 2 hours away from the city. We watched a DVD like What a Girl Wants, or maybe with Amanda Bynes. And that was really it. We ended up driving past the Superdome, and it looked like a chandelier cracked on it, and everywhere was flooded. I don't really remember too much of it. I just remember we drove through Baton Rouge, Louisiana. There was no gas at all. We had to keep driving until we got to Alexandria. No hotel rooms. Drove up to Shreveport. We got a hotel room, stayed the night, and then the next day we drove to Dallas and flew to Boston, Massachusetts. We stayed in Boston for about 2 weeks. We would listen to the radio and we would watch the news about the terror that was going on in Katrina. At that time, I was just like, woohoo, let's go to like a theme park or something. Let's go to New York. Let's go have fun. And my family was all like, Tyler, you really don't understand what's going on. But they didn't really hold me accountable because I was, after all, like 11. Um, we stayed up in we stayed up there for about like 2.5 weeks, and then we drove down. One of my dad's friends, we dropped off the car in Dallas, and one of my dad's friend, Drew, who's from Massachusetts too, she drove it up there, and we met her 2 weeks later, and we ended up driving home. We stopped by in Ohio, and we visited my cousins for 2 days, and then we drove down, stayed in Nashville for a night, and then we were home the next day. All my cousins and neighbors down here were on the phone with me, and they were like, Tyler, you got to come back. Like, your refrigerator probably smells really bad. Our our area really didn't have too much damage. We had some trees down, but I mean, we were very fortunate compared to some other people. So we got home. It smelled bad. There were trees down everywhere, and because our refrigerator food spoiled, and we just sat around. We just waited until we had power, and then we drove home. So that is my Hurricane Katrina experience. I'll make another video on what's going on in the world and what's going on in my life. This is the one time that I'm gonna do a direct upload because my camera is broken right now. So you can visit me on youtube.com/wicked2nd4. There should be a link in the sidebar for that side. And please comment, rate, subscribe, and I hope I didn't bore you too much. Thanks.